Good morning. I apologize for the delay. It's the Monday after spring break here in Manhattan, Kansas. So I guess I should have expected technical difficulties, but I'm so glad you're here to learn about the K-State Professional MBA. It's our online MBA program offered through Kansas State University. And we were announced in January as being number 24 in the nation. So we're very proud of our high ranking, and I hope that after this informational webinar is over that you'll be as excited as I am about our program, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have. So I'm Susie Otten. I am director of the online MBA program and have been at Kansas State University for 33 years. It'll be 34 in June. So K-State is a great place to work. It's also a great place to learn, even if you're online. So just a little bit about our program. We are recording this session. So if you want to unmute and ask questions at the end, we can edit those questions out. So don't feel self-conscious about speaking live or sending a message through the chat. I'll try to keep this to about 20 to 25 minutes. I tend to talk a little too fast, so I'm going to slow myself down today and hopefully give you good information that you can absorb this morning. So just a little bit about me. I do have 2 degrees from Kansas State University. As I said, it's a great place to work. It's also a great place to learn. And a fun fact about me is that the first time I traveled abroad independently was with the PMBA program. So I'm not shy about saying I was 53 years old when I got my first passport. And it's really opened my eyes to the interconnectedness of the world, especially in terms of business. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that opportunity in a moment. So some things that if you're looking at multiple programs, which I hope you're comparing, these are the kinds of topics that I would recommend that you consider when looking at an online MBA program, or any program actually. First, what is their accreditation status? So K-State goes through an institutional accreditation process, as well as our college goes through its own accreditation process. Then you should also look at cost, what the format for each program is. Is it flexible or is it pretty rigid? What kind of support services are you eligible for? And then I'll be throwing in K-State's program features just so you know how we measure up in these areas. So first of all, accreditation status. Kansas State University is accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. We're actually going through our 10-year review right now. And so we will have an accreditation visit team coming to campus in April to talk with different constituent groups and evaluate how the university as a whole is doing. But in addition to that, College of Business is accredited by AACSB, which is the Association to Advance Colleges and Schools of Business. And that's the highest accreditation that any college or school of business can have. So we have that not only in our management and finance programs, but we also hold a separate accreditation in accounting. So to put that in perspective, about 5% of programs worldwide have AACSB accreditation, and of that 5%, fewer than 5% hold dual accreditation in accounting as well. And so we can assure you that we are a quality program. And once you get that accreditation, it's just not automatic that you get it back. It's hard to get and it's hard to maintain. And K-State has been continuously accredited by AACSB for over, 40 years. So the cost of our program, each course will be $2,500. There are no additional fees. If you were a student at K-State previously, you may recall that you had a union fee, a student publication fee, health services. None of that is added on to your tuition bill. There's no distance education fee. It's just all wrapped up into that one course fee. In addition, we provide your textbooks and other required course materials. Some classes also use case studies that are provided through Harvard Business Review. And so you have to have an account, and then we pay for those case studies that you can then log on and download. We can work with employer tuition benefits. And so some programs, you can only get maybe $5,000 or $6,000 a year, or other programs are very generous and can give $12,000 to $15,000. So we can work with you to maximize that employer tuition benefit, and then also to minimize your out-of-pocket expenses. There are scholarships available, and your joining today means that you are eligible to win a drawing. I've got my little list. I'm trying to check off people as they're logging in. And I would say even if we don't get all 10 that I suggested as the minimum, I will award one scholarship this morning. Right now, it looks like we have about 5 people logged on. And then you should also look at your graduate education as an investment in you and an investment in your future. So some degrees, undergraduate degree programs the students are competitive with each other. In graduate school, that's not the case. This is an investment in you. And so you should be pushing yourself to learn the most and be the best that you can be. And you don't really, you're not going to graduate with honors from graduate school. It's just truly for you. So you don't have to feel competitive with other students. In regard to the format, some programs are require you to be synchronous, which means you have to be live certain time every week. K-State's program is not that way. We're completely asynchronous, which means that our lectures are pre-recorded, and then you watch those in a time that fits your schedule best, as long as you can meet the due dates for your assignment each week. So you can expect that you will have an assignment due by midnight Central Time every Sunday, for example. And if you are a person that likes to start early in the week with your reading and watching the lectures and then using the tail end of the week to work on the assignment, that's great. In fact, that's what we recommend, instead of trying to keep it all for the weekend, because inevitably, like it happened today, you'll have a technology glitch. And so you want to make sure that you have enough time. It takes a lot of discipline to be an online student. And then if you're experiencing any difficulty with some of the content, then you have time earlier in the week to reach out to your faculty member to get some advice and some extra guidance. We do not have a residency requirement like some programs do. You'll notice some require you to come to campus for a week at a time, maybe 2 times a year. Our program is not that way. The only times we expect you to be in person is to come to orientation once, and we hold the orientation every August, right before classes begin in the fall. So it's a Friday, Saturday. You're required to come once, but you're invited to come every year. I've had students come 3 times, for example, because they enjoy meeting the other new students and they enjoy coming back to campus. Most students take, we're talking about adequate academic progress. Some programs have full semester classes. K-State's classes are 8 weeks long, so that means you can take 2 classes per semester and finish the program in about 2 to 2.5 years. We also provide peer-to-peer interaction opportunities. So a couple of the classes you will have group projects. Each week you will have what we call a threaded discussion board, where the professor will post a topic or a question that week that you're expected to write an original response for, and then with the remainder of that week, you're required to usually respond to 2 other students' posts so that there's an active discussion going on. So you're not just kind of dangling out there in the internet somewhere. We actually want you to feel connected to the program, having you come to campus and having you interact with your peers helps you develop that connectivity. Flexibility. So some programs you're going to go with a cohort. You're going to enter in fall with this group of 25, 30 students, and they'll expect you to go lockstep with them. K-State's program is not that way. We have a rolling admission where we have 5 entry points. So anytime a new set of classes is starting represents an entry point into our program. So right now we're accepting admissions for as early as June, but you can also wait and apply for August, October, January, or March admission. And then that also allows you to have a program pause if you need. So sometimes you can't control your work life and you're going to have a huge project come up that you're not going to be able to dedicate the time to your classwork. So you can just let me know, I need to pause this semester, and then you pick that class up when it's offered again. It may alter your graduation time a little bit, but we can work with you. And so the timeline for completion can also be tailored. Most want to get done as fast as possible, but you can take as long as 6 years. So not to let you off the hook and help you drag it out, but just know that flexibility exists. We've had students who have been moved abroad because their job took them there and they just didn't feel like they could commit, to that whole semester until they got settled into their new location. We've had other students welcome new children into their families. So there are different reasons, different personal reasons or professional reasons why you need to pause, but I can work with you on that. And as I said earlier, we can also tailor your program to maximize your employer tuition benefit if that's an option for you. Already told you that there are required live, I guess I only told you about one live presence, and that was at orientation. The second time we require you to be present is for our international experience. That class is GenBet 875, and it's an international business trip that's led by one of our faculty members. And we go all over the world, but I'll delve into that in just a little bit. And then we also have elective and concentration options. So as an MBA student, you can get a general MBA and take one elective, so the full curriculum's 36 hours, or you can add 2 more, you would add 1 extra elective to take a 39-hour program, and then you could have a concentration in marketing, accounting, supply chain management, finance, and there's one more, data analytics. Support services. So you get advisement when you need it. I'm your advisor. I'm not only trying to recruit you into the program, but once you're in the program, I'll serve as your advisor. And if I'm unavailable, we are set up so that there's backup if you're in an immediate situation that you need help and I'm traveling or just not available due to meetings. There are other people that I can put you in touch with. You also get professional development opportunities. Our online students are invited to participate live if you live close to Manhattan, or we record professional development seminars. Sometimes we have speakers that come in and address our undergraduate students, but then it's usually a topic that's relatable for graduate students as well. In particular, I'm just remembering that we had the 2-hour job seeking professional development where he kind of walks you through in 2 hours how you can set yourself up for the next job opportunity. You also have networking opportunities. We have a wonderful advisory council for graduate programs. They meet twice a year. And again, if you are available, you're invited to come and join that group live, especially now that COVID looks like it may be under control. It's a great way. These are usually C-suite executives that in their companies that come to talk teach us about what we can do to help students be more employable, graduate students in particular. Our campus MBA students are usually looking for internship opportunities, which doesn't really apply to our online students, but I have had students that are maybe doing a career shift take advantage of an internship opportunity just to see if that's where they want to end up, or someone who's transitioning out of the military. I know the Army provides an internship to help a soldier transition out of military into the private sector. We also have mentorship opportunities. So as working professionals, you may already have a mentor where you work, but we also have an executive mentor program that's open to undergraduate through graduate students, campus-based as well as online. So there's no reason why you couldn't have another mentor. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody outside your work environment that can guide you in a more confidential way, where you're not, if you're having some apprehensions that you're worried about sharing with somebody within your own company, this would be a way that you could talk through and get some guidance from somebody that's not connected to your company. And then we also have career services. So there's a university career service office that you are eligible to use, as well as we have our own college level career services office, which has 3 full-time career coaches, as well as the director. So there are 4 individuals that are available to do resume review, help you do mock interviews, or just connect you with your next career opportunity if you're looking for a change. So overall, K-State's program is 36 hours, 12 courses total. You are not required to have an undergraduate business degree for entry into our program, but you are required to have completed 2 econ courses, usually micro and macro, but sometimes students take micro and then intermediate micro, and that's perfectly acceptable. Or sometimes there's engineering economics as well. And then we also require 2 statistics courses or 1 at the graduate level, and then at least general calculus and linear algebra. And if you want, I'm happy to take a look at your transcripts and give you guidance on whether you're admissible to our program. In addition, since you're required to have 3 years of post-baccalaureate work experience in order to be eligible to apply for our program, we automatically waive the GMAT exam. So if you were fearful about having to take a big test, fear not, that's waivable for you. And then also we can waive the application fee for students who had a 3.5 GPA, either cumulative or in your last 60 hours. And then the big bonus is that you get to see the world. So this leads me into discussion of our international experience. It's usually, most of the trips tend to be more around 10 days long, and that's from departure to return. And those trips are scheduled during non-instruction times. So like right now, we're preparing for our first post-COVID trip. We're going to the United Kingdom and Belgium in May, where we'll be visiting companies that consciously chose to stay based in London and shift over to just the pound. And then also we'll go over to Brussels and talk to companies that consciously chose to move in order to stay with the EU. So originally we were supposed to go right when Brexit was happening, but COVID kind of had a say in what we were able to do. So we're finally getting to do this trip, and we're going to actually have a little bit more information about what the result has been. Some future trips that we are looking at are next January, we're going to Taiwan. In March, we had hoped to go to the Czech Republic, but that's not looking like a safe place to go right now with the Ukraine-Russia situation. So we're looking at possibly going to Chile and Argentina instead. And then a year from May, we'll be going to South Korea. So those are just some examples of the places that we go. The idea is that you'll do 4 or 5 business visits. You'll interact with C-suite executives to get to hear some of their strategy and what goes into their decision making. And we usually visit companies that represent the major exports of that country. So in Great Britain, we're going to Ernst & Young. We're also going to, oh, now I'm drawing a blank. I should have pulled up the itinerary. And I can tell you in Taiwan, they're high-tech based. And so we have visited Tesla, Intel, Solomon Technologies, Lam Technologies. In Italy, we visited a textile mill where they were weaving the fabrics for the next fall's fashion line. We also visited an olive oil producer. We visited a limoncello producer. We also visited a company that is the supply chain provider for pharmaceuticals in Italy. And one of the highlights was we visited the PricewaterhouseCoopers Innovation Center. And so just lots of different opportunities. And then of course you get the cultural immersion. We visit very culturally significant sites. In Italy, we went to the Colosseum, and we went to Pompeii. The Amalfi Coast was just exquisite. And then in Taiwan, we visited a Buddhist monastery. And we got to go to Sun Moon Lake, which is a resort area, and kind of experience their tourism industry. So there are, you'll do learning, but you'll also get to do some significant cultural experiences. And then you get lots of free time to explore. And the bonus is if you have a spouse or partner that you'd like to bring along, they may join you. They just don't pay tuition and they don't have to write the paper. But there is free time built into the schedule so that you can do things with that person that you bring along, or break off with a subset of the group that you seem to be hitting it off with, and explore different parts of the country where on your own. So this brings me to the end of my official remarks that K-State's program, we have found, is highly flexible. It allows students to earn their degrees while you maintain full-time employment and continue to progress in your career. You can complete the program in as little as 2 years, or you can take as long as 6. And then it's important to note that you'll pay about 1/3 the price of other similarly accredited programs. So you could choose to go to Harvard or UT Austin, but I don't think you're going to learn anything different than what you would learn in K-State's program. And you're going to be learning from faculty who haven't just been going from their undergraduate through their PhD programs and then have never been in the real world. These are faculty that have been in industry and have decided to come back and teach students so that they can have successful careers. And then you're not learning from faculty who are based in Santa Barbara, California. They're actually our K-State faculty, and they're the same faculty teaching our on-campus MBA students. So we have good quality control that way. And our faculty are very much invested in your success as well as the success of the program. And then finally, the international competency development, that international trip is, I just can't even describe how exciting it is to visit another country and learn from the people that are there. It's just indescribable. I've been changed every single place I've gone, and I want to keep going. So if you're ready to apply, you can reach out to me, or I'll put mine and Brittany's and Diane's contact information. But you all can apply for an application fee waiver as a participant. And then if you have other questions, please feel free to reach out, and you will receive a copy of this recording. I'm kind of starting to ramble, so I apologize. So I highly encourage you, if you are interested, to reach out to me. I would, as I said earlier, I'd be happy to take a look at your transcripts and let you know, and even develop a draft program of study based on when you're interested in starting, so that you would have a good idea of what your program would look like and when you would possibly graduate if you follow that schedule. So it doesn't take me very long at all. So at this time, I would like to open it up to questions, and I'm going to try to get the chat going. So, all right. So you can unmute yourself if you feel like asking a question, or type it into the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions. There's no such thing as a bad question in my view. So please let me know. I went kind of fast and it's a lot to absorb.
Hi, Susie. This is Rebecca Bazaire. Thank you so much for putting this webinar on. I had a question for you about the slide you talked through with undergraduate course requirements. I completed some of those with my undergrad degree at Purdue University, but I have not completed all of them.
Okay.
Does your program offer any sort of bridges or leveling sessions or ways to make up some of those courses that I do not have?
So sometimes, and I would be very interested in seeing your resume as well. So do you mind sharing what your degree is in?
Sure. So my degree is in liberal arts with dual minors in French language as well as art history. And I have spent the last 7 years working in healthcare, including the last 3.5 years as a project manager for a medium to large level healthcare system in Central Ohio.
Okay. So I would suggest that you probably are doing some of the things in your day-to-day work that a leveling course would repeat. So depending what you're missing, it might be easier for you to just take a community college class. Don't tell anybody, and I guess it's being recorded, but usually schools will say, take our Econ 101, or I'm not picky that way. I know it's expensive to think about going back to school, so usually doing it through a good community college will save you a lot of money, and they are becoming more proficient at 8-week classes as well. So that would get you used to the intensity of an 8-week class. I don't know where you're located, but Johnson County Community College in Kansas City, it's in Overland Park, is a school that I highly recommend, just because we've seen students come very well prepared from their classes. But before you go looking at classes, I'd really like to see your transcript and your resume so I could see the kinds of things that you're doing and the classes that you have completed.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to send both over to you.
Yeah. So, sometimes if you're already working with balance sheets, or you're already, you might be already utilizing those skills that you would learn, and seeing what your resume shows would help me make a better decision. Does that make sense? Sounds kind of wishy-washy, but
no, it makes sense. Thank you. I will send both my transcript as well as my resume over for you.
Awesome. I was going to see if I could see. Looks like we only have 3 left in the chat. I'm going to wad up these names real quick. Mix them up in my little jar here. At least let you know who has won the. So Alex are you Alex Sarah?
Yes, ma'am, that's me.
Congratulations, you're the winner of our $500 scholarship.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm a K-State undergrad, so I'm excited about the opportunity to come back.
Yay. So if you give me permission, if you're a K-State grad, I can pull your transcript and also put together a draft program of study for you. So feel free to email me with your resume and then just say, yes, please pull my transcript. And then I will do it. I don't just poke around in there unless somebody says it's okay to do it.
Well, yes, ma'am. And I'm also a lawyer, so I'll submit my law school transcript as well. And then I did have a question if we still have a little bit of time.
You bet.
Okay, so I run a law firm and then a secondary business. So a lot of what I'm seeking is kind of the entrepreneurship, strengthening my core business acumen kind of thing. So the professors then apply these concepts more to entrepreneurs at any point, or is this program designed more for those who work for other companies?
Well, usually it's a general management MBA, but we do have an entrepreneurship elective that might fit into your schedule. It's called Strategic Innovation. And it's really about thinking without limits. A lot of times people will say they have this idea, and then the answer is, oh, we don't have the money for that. And so what this class is designed to do is to help people think in a perfect world, this is what we would have, and then scale it back to what your economy will allow you to do. And so it's actually good for somebody who's not an entrepreneur, but somebody who is into problem solving. And I can see how it would feed into strategy as well. But as an online student, you have two options for your Capstone Project, which is where I think you would be able to apply the concepts from the program very well, since you are an entrepreneur. Most students will solve a business problem for their current employer. You analyze it. A lot of times it's tied to developing efficiencies where you're saving time, which means you're saving money, process improvement. Sometimes it's creating a reward structure to retain good employees. So at any rate, there's a quantifiable cost, loss and gain that you can show with your project. But the second option is for somebody like you who's entrepreneurial, you can launch your own business, or you can analyze your own business instead of for an employer. Does that kind of make sense?
Absolutely. I need all the help that I can get, for sure.
Yeah. We've had students who have, actually one has quit. He worked for Garmin. He used to just do IT, like help people fix things with their computers in his spare time, and sometimes they would pay him, sometimes not. So he and a colleague decided, we seem to be doing this a lot for people. And so they developed a business plan, worked with our director for the Center for Entrepreneurship, and developed a business plan so that they could do this, a more formalized consulting business on the side in regard to IT and helping them upgrade systems, whatnot. And he's now quit Garmin and does this full time, so he works for himself. I've had somebody who in the Kansas City area also, but African American, couldn't find somebody who looked like him when he was seeking to buy a home, somebody who could connect with him on his concerns and safety and quality of life in the way he needed. So simultaneous to doing his MBA, he he got his real estate license, and then his final project was to launch his own real estate company for people of color, that he could reach out and be of use to people of color. So just 2 examples, but there are others. So yes, I guess the long answer is yes, we can help you apply the content that will help you go wherever you want to go.
Thank
And you would
you
still
very
have
much.
access to Dr. Jackson separate from the program if you wanted. He has walked people through writing up their business plan and being in a position to launch their own business.
Thank you so much.
Sure, and congratulations. Anybody else? Well, I do thank you for spending time with me this morning. I know it's really early. The idea is that we hope to be attracting some international applicants as well for the program. So this is their evening time. And we've been told that it's a good time to get them logged on, but so far we've only gotten one. So I do appreciate you joining me this morning, and do not hesitate to reach out if you have other questions. Great, Jill. I'm excited to hear from you.
Yeah, I was the only one that hadn't spoken, and sorry for my voice.
That's okay.
My daughter is a competitive swimmer, and we were at a 3-day meet, and I got home at 10 o'clock last night. So lack of rest and lots of yelling. But yes,
Yeah.
I'm a Kent State alum, and I'm the only one in my family without their master's. I'm recently divorced, and I just was like working on my own life goals that I kind of put off the last few years, many years
Yeah.
doing that. And so I work with a company, have for the last 16 years. I was an apparel and textile marketing major and ended up in HR consulting and technology. So I've been working for a company in that industry for the last 16 years. So I'm going to look into tuition reimbursement and those type of options within my own organization.
Awesome. Yeah, sometimes having the draft program of study is useful when you're talking to your employer, just so they can see there is a real plan and that there is a projected graduation date.
Right.
So
good. Well, I just wanted to again, appreciate you putting this on to just gather more information so I can have kind of make decisions.
awesome. Well, great. Thank you again. And I'll be in touch if you're in touch. I'm not going to be sending you spam messages. So you know how to get a hold of me, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.